Okay. Class rep is who? Say that again. Mutai.
Class rep is Gilbert Mutai.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's the one. I have his number here, and I can't. Okay. Okay. All right. Jambi, you said you are 20?
24.
24. I had less number than that. All right, that's okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that's all right. I just wanted that confirmation, and then we are all here. Anybody else from any other group who is here? Like BCom, you know this course is done by everyone. BCom, are you here? Do we have somebody BCom? Do we have somebody procurement? Okay, that means then we have only those two groups. So this course outline, okay, let me just say something about the course outline. This course outline, the way it is, the only change is this code here. This code here is the only change. Yeah. For BBIT, it is HBT. So you will find HBT. For BIT, it is BIT. BSIT is BIT. So no much change. Everything else, the unit name and the content is the same. For BBIT, for BCom, it is HBC. So and so forth. So I think for now we are just going to use this one. But when ending these notes, because after lecture, I'm going to send the notes and the course line, I'm going to send separate course outlines because those are the groups that have been confirmed so far. So I'm going to send a course outline for EP. The content will be the same. There is an assignment. Let me just give you an assignment. There is an assignment here. This assignment will be the same for all of you. This assignment will be the same. Sorry, I'm going to change this date. I'm going to put a date that is for current semester. So I'm going to put a different date and a different assignment there. So everything else will be the same all through for everything. So to do with the learning outcomes, the how we are going to conduct the first lecture, which we are going to do today, like that to the end. So everything else will be the same. And I think that is where I'm going to stop about the course outline. So now I want to load the today's lecture slides, unless someone has a comment. But if you have one, please just raise it as I load this because it will take like seconds. Anyone with a comment or question and so forth. Even a clarification, it's okay. So silence means we are okay, all of us. So here we are. I have decided to reflect a BCom code just deliberately because I have reflected the other side. I reflected BSIT course outline. So there are these codes. The codes just are different, but the course is the same all through. That's why it is combined for the 5 groups actually. Even law, they do this. So I want us to begin, and we begin by trying to define some key concepts. But before even we go to the key concepts, there's something I can say. Basically, this course is about research methodology. We want to understand research. What is it? Because basically everyone wants to do research. For BSIT, actually for BBIT, I know you do several because you are supposed to do the system development project, and you're also supposed to do management research project. So BBIT, you have several. For BSIT, I'm not very sure, but I know you must be you must do something research. And then for BCom, they also do 2. For procurement contract management, they do 1. So this course is so important because it gives you skills that you are going to apply. So as you approach it, don't just cram. Try to be able to apply. For those I'm going to meet next again with like a BBIT and BCom and any other group, we will be doing now. We will be implementing this. So we will be doing a management project, which will be implementing this. So it's good for you to understand this very well. And then it's also good to say that we are going to, because this is the basic, these are the basics, because it's the same thing you do masters, but a little advanced, and then PhD more advanced, very abstract things and the theories. So for here, we are not going to deal with theories at all. We will just the basic concepts, characteristics, definitions, around there, understanding the components of a research project. I mean, in terms of the sections, the parts that are there, what they mean, what you are supposed to do. Basically, the basics, but very important. So that is what we are going to do. And so we start by defining some key concepts. And one of the concepts that is defined here is research. What is it? You know, what is research? There are many definitions for this thing called research. Some will emphasize on the process. Other definitions will emphasize on the characteristics. Others will emphasize on the building blocks of the process itself. Like here you see we are talking about collecting, analyzing, etc. All that. So it's good to know. This first definition for me is the most important because it is something to discover, an endeavor. We initiate something and we engage in it to discover answers to intellectual and practical problems. So we can go the pure research way where we just want to say, are we sure we are living? Is there death? Is death real? Is there life after death? Pure, where we want to theorize. And then practical, where problems we are dealing with, like traffic jam, COVID-19, a practical problem that we want to get solutions and solve it. So it's good to know that. And then as we do this, we are following something called a scientific method. So the first definition is most important for me, although the rest are also good because they try to emphasize something. Like the second one is systematic effort. You see, systematic effort to do what? To gain new knowledge. So meaning we are trying to extend frontiers of knowledge. where others, that's why we peruse previous research documents, meaning we look at what others have already done, and then now we want to look at the gaps that are there in their findings, and then we spring from there to fill those gaps, meaning we are extending frontiers of knowledge. Like, for example, if somebody today researched about COVID-19, and then discovered actually it is not caused by virus. It is something else, and you give it a name. You see, you have extended frontiers of knowledge because now people will know. Wow. So besides bacteria, virus, and fungus, there is other pathogens, So you name it. Yes? Yes? Did I hear somebody say something? Hello? Are you hearing me well, or there is a problem? Dennis? Jambi? Esther?
Yes.
Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Oh, I thought somebody is trying to interrupt because I'm not being heard. System can fail. So in case in case I fail, you are not hearing me or something, just prompt me. Because I'm putting full screen, so I can't know you are raising your hand. Okay, so that is it. I mean, these definitions and other things, I can leave them to you to just read by your Bible. Read that. Mine is plain. It's plain. Like on this slide, we are just trying to compare the definition of two important concepts: methodology and the method. Basically, what I can say from this definition, which is so much loaded, as you can see, there is a lot of wording. I did that deliberately because I wanted to help you when you are revising to understand. This is a question that keeps coming. So I didn't want just to talk about it. I just wanted to say that the main difference is that methodology is wider. It captures methods. So, like for example, the research project that we usually do in JQuat, there is chapter 3 called methodology, which contains all the methods we are going to use and the tools, the research design, all that, those things are there. So methodology is just wider. I can say that. The rest of the details, please read by yourself. Then the same comparison, I tried to give even more and more and more for you, just for your benefit. Just for your benefit, which is important. Then, objectives of research. Why do we do research anyway? This is important. I said today we are dealing with the basics. This is important. Yeah, we want to gain familiarization with what is happening around. After God's creation, the rest is for us to understand. You see, what is light? For example, people who have not gone to school, when they see light, they just say it is absence of darkness. But we, educated people, we know light is not just absence of darkness. It is made up of particles. And that's why those particles, we have been able to harness them and then create energy. And then we call it solar energy. You see? So we have gone beyond just what we can see. So it's important to start thinking like that. Yeah. So there is more and more and more. But the most important thing, even in this slide, is that the fact that we do research to test hypotheses. So hypothesis is actually a proposal or an assumption. So we say light is made up of particles. You see, and then we go ahead to prove that. And then when after analyzing a lot of data and doing all the tests, if that is confirmed, then we say, the hypothesis is confirmed. Yeah. If it is not confirmed, then we say the hypothesis is rejected. Yeah. So like that. And in a business and social science, we try to relate variables. So we say there is a dependent variable, one that depends on others, you see, and those others it depends on are called independent variables. So in terms of relationship, we are saying the dependent variable is a function of independent variable 1, 2, 3, 4, like that up to xn. Yeah, so that is it. Then general characteristics of research. This one you can read by yourself. Like it is objective and logical. You know, it requires courage. It must be sequential. You know, it requires expertise. Meaning, you must be well trained the way we are doing. It involves gathering new data and analyzing it, and then looking at the hidden facts within it. Then scientific method, the one we were mentioning, you see. This one is a body of systematic, organized knowledge. There is a standard way. Everybody, if you call yourself researcher, you must follow that. And that's why we ask you to defend your proposal, to defend your report, your thesis, your project. Why? We want to see how far you have followed the scientific method, the standards. You see, the standards. Have you been systematic in collecting your data? You know, have you been systematic and applying the right tools to analyze it? You know, have you been biased? Are there biases? You see, have you been objective? Are what you are presenting facts or they are just whims? etc. Are they full of errors? How much error is there? You must also declare the error that is there because that's normal. etc. So all those, what type of errors are there? And what assumptions, you know? So in scientific thinking, we say that nature is orderly and regular. So those are the things we want to understand. Everything you see around, you can discover the orderliness and the regularness of it. And to some extent, events are consistent and predictable. Yeah. So you can predict, once you understand something, then you can predict it. You can say the sun, the sun will rise what time and it will set what time. By the way people think it's the sun that rises and sets. But in the actual sense, it is the earth that is moving. So you see those things. And so you can tell. Once you predict like that, you can even set a clock. And then you set working hours. You say a human being can work maximum this number of hours. So set our working hours. And you say, let us work when there is no light. Because the sun is on our side before it goes the other side, because the earth, once it rotates and then the sun is hidden the other side, we are in the shadow side. So let us sleep during shadow side, and that is the time we relax and then rest. Anyway, so there are all these things that are important for you to start understanding early. We are saying we can predict, and then events or conditions have one or more causes, you know. It's good. You see, now here we are talking about variables. When you see something happening, it has been caused by something else. Now, take yourself back to writing some short notes about general systems theory, so that you know what you are seeing is not just that. It is because of something else, which is also because of something else, which is also because of something else. And that's why we research, to understand all those some things. And that is what we call relationships. So scientific method, the definition is given here, is a method that has been defined as a systematic, empirical, controlled, critical examination of hypothetical hypothesis. You know, I said what hypothesis? Hypothetical propositions. Propositions are just assumptions or proposals about association between something and something else. When we talk about natural phenomena, we are saying something else. Yeah. So it relies on empirical evidence. Empirical evidence, you must show, you must demonstrate. Because you are convincing other people that, hey guys, you know what? There is a relationship between COVID-19 and the loss of weight, you see. But you can't just convince people by saying that because you have seen some people who had COVID-19 and now they are growing thing. No, you demonstrate by setting what we call experiments or a research, and you track them along the way. You could do a longitudinal study, or you could do whichever way to demonstrate that. And then the data will speak to that, not you telling us that. So empirical evidence, it relies on relevant concepts, utilizes relevant concepts like all these concepts we are talking about, like research methods, research methodology, reliability testing, regression analysis. Those things, we must hear them. Then it is committed to only objective considerations. So objectivity, when we talk about scientific, we are saying objectivity. You as a researcher should never influence what is happening. So you are like a camera. You set a video camera somewhere, it does not affect how whatever is happening around there. Its work is to capture how things are, and then it reports, you see. So all these are important. Just try to know them. Properties of scientific method, know them. Then scientific method process, you see. This is important process. You start by this, you followed by this, followed by this, followed by this, followed until finally you determine if the results support or refute the hypothesis. And this is what I said, rejection or confirming the hypothesis. Tips for success. What do you do? Be clear. Be clear. Be clear. So stimulate readers' attention by using non-technical terms or jargons. So whenever you are writing, you may have conceptualized everything as an engineer, as a medical doctor, as a philosopher like me, and so forth. Please don't bring that here. Try to be as simple as you can, unless where you cannot use any other word. Jargons, the way the lawyers play around with them just to play with the people's minds, are not necessary in the academic world, because simplicity is the game. The more you communicate your whatever it is better, the better, because you will be stood, you'll have easy time when presenting your results, than when you have put jargons there and now you have to explain each and every jargon, then you lose the fact that you want to communicate. Problem should be manageable. When you are dealing with a problem, and you are guided by the supervisor, so that you are dealing with a problem that is manageable. You don't bite too big, you don't also become too shallow. Then achieve theoretical fit. Yes, there are theories. For everything you want to do, there are theories that already exist. So you want to either refute that theory or build a theory. Yeah, it's a theory you want to either build, or you are refuting it, you are criticizing it. The other thing is the problem should be important. Yes, current and exciting. People want to hear things that are, oh, this guy is trying to look at what versus what. Okay, that's good. That's good. I think it's something worth listening. Then achieve hypothesis fit. Yes, the hypothesis is a way of testing, controlling your ideas so that you are solving a specific problem, or you are dealing with a specific object. Because if you don't have a hypothesis, then you are likely to do a research and then it reaches a point you don't know what to do with so much. Yeah, actually, as you continue researching, when you start and then move on to the real research itself, you discover there is a lot that is interesting to you that you can do. And now you get overwhelmed. So if you don't have a hypothesis to guide you, then you can get lost. The other thing is seeking advice at all times, and that's why in academic research you are tied to experts like me and others to help you move well. And if you're a good listening student, then you become an expert in a very good way, because when you are given suggestions, you take them. When you are challenged with tough questions, you expose your ignorance, you expose your weaknesses, then you are helped. Than when you try to be too clever or you hide your weaknesses, and then somebody does not know how to help you. There are a few things to avoid. There's something called procrastination, buying time, and then last minute. Last minute usually will frustrate you. You will never like research, I'm telling you, if you dare waste time in the initial. So the other thing is preparing vague and unachievable objectives, and you should be helped so that you bite what you can, and the objectives must be smart, measurable, singular, etc. Simple and clear. Failure to pretest instruments, pretesting is so important, because if you don't pretest, then you are likely to find yourself in you are struggling with the tools and also the fight itself. Imagine you have never tested a gun and now you have gone to war with it. It gives you trouble. Or these Safari guys, imagine if they have never tested those vehicles and now they are running with them. Get stuck. Failure to take part in the actual study. Sometimes you want somebody else to do it for you, and now you pay because you have money. Like my friend has said, he's rich, so he doesn't want where he is. So you see now these troubles. You're paid, but now you don't know what is happening, and you have to defend that. Then it's trouble, plagiarism, and other things. So it's good to avoid some of those things, and you have been given some examples. There is more than that actually, but it's good to know that those are just a few among many other things. Then limitations of scientific methods. Scientific method has also its own limitations, and although we want to prescribe it for everyone, we want to tell everyone to use it, to follow it, and so forth. It has its own weaknesses. For example, science is imperfect, especially when it is applied to human behavior and performance. Human beings, like for example, let's say I want to measure happiness. eh? Now I find people somewhere dancing, and you see, we have been told to stay far so that we don't influence what is happening, so that we behave like cameras and videos to take a real problem as it happens and without interference. Now ask yourself this question. When you do that, and then people are dancing, and now you go and report that they were happy. What about if they were dancing because some people can dance because they have lost a loved one, and that's the way they mourn, you see? So human beings and social behavior has so many issues that when you subject them to scientific methods, sometimes you have to be more keener than just a matter of looking at some gases or some liquids that you mix in a lab, and then you see the colors, and then or you see them increase temperature, and then you report that, you see. When it is pure science, and it's so easy to apply scientific method. But when it comes to social science, there are those challenges you have to face, So it's a debate, actually. It's a debate of how far can scientific methodology be applied in social science, and especially where human beings are involved. Sometimes even when you are researching, people can choose to lie to you. They tell you, hey, I'm very happy, and they are not. I'm very satisfied with this product, and they are not. Especially, let's say you go to government sector and you want to research about corruption. Who will accept is corrupt? Yeah? Have you ever been corrupted? Have you ever been corrupted? They will say, all of them will say no. In most cases, no, no, no. So then that is trouble. Okay, sources of uncertainty, sometimes also complexity. When you are looking at variables, there is a lot of you can find yourself in a very complex situation where you don't understand. Like for example, this thing called COVID so far, there is a lot that is not known because it's so complex. Like we are hearing that it affects, it is not very severe for young people, etc. Then sometimes we are hearing it is killing young people. So when you are drawing, you are doing a model, conceptual model, and you are saying this is affecting this, this is affecting this, this is affecting this, and so forth. In terms of relationships of variables, you can find yourself in a place where variability and the other things are so complex, especially for business and social science. So the unique psychological and physiological capacity of individuals is also an issue. Researchers are never the same. There are people who are very good and understand things very easily. Others have a weakness of unraveling or understanding very complex things, and therefore the researcher himself can also have limitation in applying scientific methods. Then social science researchers must be accurately aware of extraneous influence. So there are variables that even when you are looking at this influencing this, there are others that you may not know are there. And that's we try to look at that as we interpret our results. Uh, for good research, this one I can leave it to you. If you are doing research, then you try as much as possible to have 90% of this, to observe 90% of this. So when we are looking at quality of your research, we try to look at this as much as possible. So how far has it been purposeful? Yeah. How much how much do we know about the process? What about the conclusions? Are they justified by the data itself? That is there, the findings. Is the reporting so frank? You know, or some things are cooked and hidden. Qualities of good research must be systematic, logical, etc. Creativity is just important. You must be creative person, thinking so much within yourself, not just politics. Then need for research. We need research because we can do so much with it. We can explore things, we can describe things, we cannot live with what God created and we don't understand it. It's wrong. Like for example, through research, people have known that there's global warming. Things are becoming warmer. Yeah? Without that, we would just sit here and one day we just disappear like dinosaurs. So research things that must be done, problem must be clearly recognized. Determine information already available and what further information is required. So that's why we do literature review. Obtain and assess information objectively, to help inform the decisions that you are going to make. So don't just, pick what you think is convenient. Then there are and one is defining the problem. Then you do literature review to understand it more. then the selection of the research design and the subjects of research, and then data collection techniques, and then data gathering itself, where you go and they put the tools in place, and then data analysis, and then implications, and now reporting. You see, now what happens here is that all this, if I just can tell you about this, is that here we have now already talked about chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3 and chapter 4 of our research project, So it maps into all those phases. So statement of the problem, of course, entails just all these things here. And then literature review entails just these things here. These are things we'll go into details actually, chapter by chapter. So today is just overview. And then selection of research design involves this. Then data gathering involves this. And then data processing and analysis involves this. This is now chapter 4. And then interpreting is still chapter 4. And then reporting now, reporting is the final thing, of course. So then here we talk about creativity, and creativity is just important, is the ability to develop new ideas and to discover new ways of looking at problems and opportunities. So it is so important in research. You must be creative. It means you try to look at things from many ways, and you don't just accept status quo. You question everything to the best knowledge, and you even subject other people to help you question things, so that at the end of the day you have the best. And the following questions are important in inspiring your imagination and creativity. Like for example, is there a new way to do it? Can you borrow or adopt? Can you give it a new twist? All this. So research requires people who are creative, and creativity can be stopped or prevented by a few things here and there. Like for example, searching for one right answer. So you are so stuck to I'm looking for this, and that's what I must find. Sometimes you don't do that. You let the data talk. You collect data in an objective way, analyze, and see now what is there. There is a lot of hidden meaning in data, by the way. And when you look at the data, that's when you come to understand. Number 7 here is very important, avoiding ambiguity. Every researcher, you will find yourself in a situation where you are so confused. Yeah, but you still find a way out. You find a way. The meaning will just come clearly, slowly. Yeah? Fearing to look foolish. Nobody, you feel embarrassed. Yeah? But it happens. You may find that, like, for example, you are researching on something. You thought that people like this drink. People, everybody takes this drink. Only for the data to tell you, it is the opposite. Yeah. And now you are afraid of reporting that because you think everybody will hate you, and you are afraid. So fostering creativity, there are a few things you can just look at here. And that I can leave it to you. Then scope and the significance of research. Research for business decisions, you throw light or risks and uncertainty, identify alternative courses of action. So in business and ICT, research has its own application. You don't just do it for knowledge alone. There is a lot of applications, as you can see. All these things, even when we are talking about 5G, for example, it is through research. Hmm? When we are talking about the digital economy, digital whatever, it's about research. So always, it's good always to have that open mind and know that there is no research that is useless. There's some application. in some way, whether in a business or just globally. But the main idea for research is to improve our understanding of the world as it is, and also solving problems, solving our problems. So that is important for you. Other general applications are here. These ones you can read by yourself, but you can see now for philosophers and thinkers, research means outlet for new ideas and insights. People keep, like, once you have a PhD, you keep researching because you just love it. You are just asking yourself, like an artist, what is my next release? What will be my next release? You are happy, communicating to the world and telling them, what, there's new this and this, there's new this and this. Then types of research, of course, these ones I can leave you to. There are quite many ways of classifying research. You see, I decided to here to compare two extremes: descriptive versus analytical, applied versus fundamental. And then I give the examples of research type, the research types there. Then quantitative versus qualitative, conceptual versus empirical. You see, conceptual because we want to build concepts, empirical because we are looking at real-time data observations. Then some other types of research are also there. You can classify them based on time. So we are saying one time or longitudinal. Longitudinal, you are following something for some time. Like now, all of us who are being vaccinated, we will be followed with time to see how the nation behaves with us. Yeah, like that. But one-time research is like you just look at what is happening today and analyze that data and report. Like now, the research that is being done to monitor behavior of COVID-19. Like today, you just look at how far it has gone. All those data is just research, exploration, experimental, all these types. So there are many, there are detailed comparisons that I decided to give you here to go and read by yourself, so that now you can get more insights. Besides, you can also go to the internet and just look at them with the very many examples. I don't expect you, this is a summarized one. I don't expect you to go to a library just to read these things. People have stopped going to libraries. I think libraries are going to die very soon. You just go online, it's faster. You get whatever you want and read, and then you understand you want to understand. So I think I will stop there. I will just stop there because today is just we were just looking at just exploring. The first lecture overview and the types and the examples there. So that is it. And I don't know whether you have a question or a comment. I can take some questions or comments if you have any. Yes. Let's see if there is any question or a comment from the floor. Today is just I can see some people. Can we get the notes? Yes, I'm going to send the notes. I said that immediately when we began. Loud and clear. Yes, people are saying they are happy, working okay. Yeah. So any question or comments, you can unmute yourself and ask or comment about today's lecture. Yes? Yes? So from next week, we will walk through this process. We will talk about preliminary parts of a research project. then chapter 1, then chapter 2, then chapter 3, then until the last day. Then we crown it and face the exam. So we'll walk from chapter 1 to the 4th chapter, including the appendices of our research project. That's how we will do it. So any question, comment, please unmute yourself. Humphrey Minor, can you ask your question? So without questions, then we are good to go. I think we stop there. I'm going to send you the notes immediately after this, and then you enjoy the class. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.